Hey guys, Film Threats back. Welcome to the Film Threat Podcast. I am Chris Gore, the publisher editor of FilmThreat.com. I am joined on our very first podcast by our lead film critic, Anthony Ray Bench.
How's it going?
It's going good. It's going good. It's going good because FilmThreat.com is back. We are on a mission, and it's very exciting. I have to start out first. I have to start out by saying a huge thank you to all the Kickstarter backers, of which, Anthony, you were one.
I was, yeah.
And what did you, so what, like you, I mean, like we've known each other for years in the podcasting world.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, you helped with the Pod Crash, my previous podcast. And you obviously you knew, Sean Merrick from that, the producer of Pod Crash. You are now also producing this show, the Film Threat Podcast, and you're also our lead film critic on the site.
I am. It's an incredible honor to be doing both. It's really cool. You're somebody I respect. You're someone I love working with. And
it sounds like you're getting an award. Are you getting an award right now? What is this?
I don't know. I think I deserve one.
Well, we've known each other for years just from going to like conventions and hanging out and I feel like once you're sort of connected by nerdy, things that you have in common that you're into, you're always friends with that person.
Yeah,
no matter
absolutely.
How long the time is between, the time you see them and the next time you see them. You're always, let's catch up. Oh, did you see Rogue One? But before we get to talking about movies, and because on the Film Threat Podcast, we're going to be doing a bunch of things. One, we're going to be talking about the latest releases, and we have a lot of movies to catch up on from 2016.
A whole lot.
We're going to be talking about upcoming films that we're excited about. We'll be discussing movie news. We'll be doing DVD Tuesday is going to be a segment on the Film Threat Podcast, and once that gets going, it may spin off into its own thing. But we're gonna do that here. We even have like a DVD Tuesday theme song, which will be on the next episode. Next episode, we'll get to that. And we'll be talking about all things related to film. We'll also be doing interviews with directors and screenwriters and filmmakers, but not on these first few episodes. We're just going to be getting our sea legs because I haven't done a podcast, honestly, in years. It has been years now because I stopped doing Pod Crash in, 2013?
I believe it was 2014.
2014 was the last.
When you recorded the last one with Oprah having diarrhea.
Well, no, actually I've got about 10 episodes of Pod Crash just sort of waiting in the wings to release at a certain point.
You haven't released that? Did I
have not released it. I know. Don't talk about that. But so I have a lot of episodes of Pod Crash waiting in the wings. Maybe we'll bring a Pod Crash back and just sort of put out these final episodes. It'll be like it'll be like a series finale for
like a
Pod
retrospective?
Crash. Like a retrospective, but also like a series finale for Pod Crash because it never really did have an ending. I just stopped doing it. So that should actually come back. But Film Threat is my focus. I'm excited to be back. It's exciting because of course we're doing this Film Threat documentary that some of you that contributed to the Kickstarter know about. You're all getting not just a credit in the documentary. If you go to filmthreat.com, I think /supporters, it's a list of all the names of everyone who contributed to the Kickstarter campaign are on the website emblazoned. If I could put it on a monument, I would put it on that. But there is also a YouTube video. If you look on YouTube, there's a video of me reading every single name of every person who contributed to the Kickstarter. So,
and how long was that video?
The video is, I actually think that the whole video is like 40 minutes.
Yeah, I got to like minute 7.
Yeah.
Luckily, my last name starts with B, so you knocked me out pretty quick.
They're all in alpha. I put them in alphabetical order on the website by first name, but I feel like I have to say something. I feel like I have something important. I want to thank all of you who could. I'm so touched by all your help. Film Threat. It was a Xerox fanzine I started in 1985 when I was a kid. I was going to film school.
Can we talk about movies now?
We'll talk about movies in a second. I just want to give a little bit of a speech. I want to give a little speech. So Film Threat was started in 1985. February 6th, 1985 was the very first Xeroxed issue of the fanzine. It was only 6 pages. And there only 500 copies of that issue were printed and distributed free if you were in the film classes at Wayne State University.
Maybe you should put this in the documentary, and we should get on with the show.
This is all going to be part of the doc, but let me get these words out.
All right.
This is important.
Okay.
So now here it is, 32 years later. The Film Threat website has made its triumphant return. And I wish I could thank on the podcast the 1,053 people whose credit cards actually were able to be processed, because there were about 20 or 30 people who contributed, but their credit cards were bad or they changed their mind at the last minute. And to those people, you know what? I still love those people because maybe they're going through hard times. It's rough in America right now. It's rough in America. But you know what?
Don't get political. Let's just go into the movies, please.
We are going to talk about movies.
Oh, God.
We're going to talk about movies, but I just think it's important for me to say a final thank you before we begin, because here it is 32 years later, and now the Film Threat website is back, and all the I will say, though, that this is probably the worst music for this, but there are actually technical problems with the website.
Oh, dear.
There's some technical problems. We can't get images to appear with some of the old content. Some of the authors' names are not appearing, so I'm having to manually go in and fix a bunch of this stuff, which is fine. This is what I signed up for. I'm ecstatic to be doing it. But please bear with us as to this triumphant music. I'm telling you that there are technical problems with the website. And you can report, you can put them in the comments, or maybe just you can email me at filmthreatgore@gmail.com. That goes to me, and I will just bear with us, because the first couple months we're going to be fixing stuff. So I think maybe we should actually start talking about movies.
Yeah, sure. Let's do that.
Okay. So thank yous out of the way. Let's get this thing started. So a lot of great films came out in 2016. I actually think that the last quarter of 2016 might have been one of the best batches of films that I've seen in some time. I mean, so much good stuff. There's also some craptacular stuff that came out in January.
Oh God, yes.
Let's start with the good stuff. Manchester by the Sea. I saw that at a screening. Anthony,
I saw it with our friend Yoshi Obayashi.
Our mutual friend in comedy.
Yes.
Manchester by the Sea. Let's hear it.
I loved this movie, but I never, ever want to see it again because it is dark. It is just not the kind of movie that makes you feel uplifted. It makes you feel crappy.
Well, I think it's one of those in a category of films that's a short list, which is movies you can only watch once.
Yes.
And I feel like we're going to do an article on Film Threat called Movies You Should Only Watch Once. The other one that should be on that list is Schindler's List.
Yes. Should
top the list.
Yeah.
Which has, I'm going to be honest, just as a connoisseur of nudity in films, probably some of the worst nudity I've ever seen in a movie. And when Schindler's List was on broadcast television, they actually aired it unedited, so you could see the nudity with a little. But look, in spite of the nudity in Schindler's List, it actually should be on the list of movies you should only watch once. I mean, it's so fantastic. It's such a fantastic film. And especially because what I love about it is this is a hint to every movie trailer out there. Don't give everything away.
Yes.
Do not give everything away. There's a movie called Lion with Dev Patel, which I think is absolutely brilliant. But if you watch the extended trailer for it, which is on YouTube, you've seen pretty much the whole movie and you can guess how it ends. Mm-hmm. Lion was also, one of those that I think fits on the list of movies you should only see once.
Really?
But yeah, it's heartfelt. It's beautiful. Dev Patel's he's buff and a hottie now. I mean, he was in that show Newsroom, sort of gangly skinny, and in Slumdog Millionaire, gangly skinny. He's like this buff hunk. It's bizarre.
Yeah, he was in M. Night Shyamalan's The Last Airbender too. He was like the main bad guy.
Yeah, but he's
Like I see him and I just think of like a teenage kid.
and typical. Can I just say typical of every great podcast? The guys who the leaf blowers are here. They're here, and you could possibly hear them in the background. And I need to warn you that at some point, I have an appointment with DirecTV. They gave me a 9-hour window of when they might be here, which is exactly on the day that we're recording this podcast.
I hate when they do that.
So I may have to stop so my DirecTV can get fixed. But yeah, Manchester by the Sea, absolutely one of the. I mean, look, it's
how about that Casey Affleck?
Casey Affleck's going to win the Oscar for Best Actor.
You think so?
Yeah, absolutely. Without a doubt.
I hope so. He deserves it.
Yeah, he absolutely deserves it for that performance. And wasn't originally Matt Damon supposed to play that part, right?
Yeah.
It was supposed to be Matt Damon, and oddly, he shows up in the trailer. He does this little, which I actually think was the right approach. The trailer did not ruin the movie.
No, like I watched the trailer when I saw Arrival, another great movie that I loved, and I'm watching it, and it's just like, you know, these scenes of Casey Affleck kind of being reluctant to take in his nephew after his nephew's father passes away.
Right.
And I'm like, all right, like this is going to be kind of like a feel good, like kind of a dramedy where, you know, like at the end, Casey Affleck's going to learn to love and everything's going to be okay for the characters. And, you know, everybody's going to learn a lesson. This is not that movie.
It's way darker than that. Yeah.
Oh my God, it's dark.
If you are depressed and think that you might want to kill yourself,
don't see this.
No, actually do watch it because you realize, oh, that's right. Other people's lives can be worse than mine. So,
all right, I
think
that.
So another list article that needs to be up on Film Threat is movies to watch if you're considering suicide. Manchester by the Sea, and that is in that top 5. So now let's talk about some of the other films that you and I have seen that maybe were not so great. Assassin's Creed. What were they thinking?
Yeah, I love the games. And when I say I love the games, like I love the first 2 and the spinoffs of the second one.
Right.
I stopped at 3 because they changed the controls, and then, you know, my time is valuable. I can't play every single video game that comes out anymore.
Right.
But I still love the concept, and I love the characters, and I love that the game usually centers around people that, you know, crack wise, and there's joking, and there's personality, and, you know, you get to feel for the characters. Like Desmond Miles is the main character in the first 2 games or first 3 games. You get to kind of go on a journey with him and get to know him and get to know what he's like. And in this,
you actually get to watch someone play a game.
Yeah,
with a VR bodysuit, basically. Look, I'm just a casual player of Assassin's Creed. I played it. It's sweet. It's nice. It's a gorgeous looking game. I mean, but this movie it needed to decide be one thing or the other. It's sort of set in the present day, right? Going into the past DNA.
But that's the games. That's something that's very, like, you know,
right. But it just did not work for them. I cared about the story in the past. I didn't care at all about the present day story. It just didn't gel for me. I was more interested in what was happening in the past and living in that world.
Because it was beautifully shot when they would go into the past.
But it's typical. This is a problem not with just Assassin's Creed, but a lot of films these days. Too much digital, where you're not invested. It's so digital that it just. I feel like digital effects need to be used sparingly in a movie. One of the few directors that knows how to do that, I think, is Christopher Nolan. I think Chris Nolan knows you use digital effects to enhance, but the difference is. I'm not sure if this is his philosophy, but I think that this should be, if you're making a film of this type, you shouldn't have the camera do something that it cannot do in real life. That takes you out of it. When there's a sweeping and the camera does this, and it seems a lot of these directors want to sort of brag about what's possible, but we know that it just takes you out of it because that shot would be impossible in the physical real world. So then it begins to be like a video game.
Yeah.
That's when those video game comparisons come in. And that's my problem with all Sony movies.
Oh, God,
all Sony movies that use effects, whether it's Resident Evil or name a Sony movie with digital effects, they overuse the digital effects. It looks fake. It's distancing. The Amazing Spider-Man series, the biology, right? Is it a biology now? Amazing Spider-Man and Amazing Spider-Man 2 are
yeah.
biology. It's not part of the Marvel universe. It's not part of the MCU officially, except Homecoming will be. Well, that's another thing. No, we'll get to upcoming movies later. But Assassin's Creed, I just did not like. The digital effects took me out of it.
That's interesting that you're saying that, because I think because I guess I played the game like I expected it to look like the game, and it didn't bother me that.
So you're saying you disliked it less?
Yeah. What I didn't like was the characters. The characters were boring. There was nothing interesting about them. Like, we got like a backstory to Michael Fassbender's character, and it was just so cliche. And like, you know, like I said, in the games they crack wise. They have relationships with the other characters.
Mm-hmm.
You get kind of like a sense like they're real human beings. In this, Michael Fassbender just seemed like a robot, which is sad because I love Michael Fassbender. This movie should have been better. It should have.
I wish he had powers of magnetism in this movie. I think it would have made it better. Okay, moving on. A movie that I think, well, we should talk about Split. I have not seen Split. So now look, I'm hearing mixed about Split. I have some friends who I trust dearly who saw Split and loved it. Said it's typical M. Night, twist at the end, you'll love it. So I have heard wildly different reactions to this movie, and I have not seen it. I want to hear your what you thought about Split.
Okay, so Split, like
another movie with an X mutant.
Yes,
Professor X. James McAvoy.
It is very typical.
Well, what's the setup? Tell me about the story, because I haven't seen it.
So the setup is that 3 girls get kidnapped by this guy who has, I believe, 23 or 24 split personalities.
Okay.
You know, that's fine. That's an interesting premise, you know, like, because some of them are trying to help. Others, you know, have this nefarious plan to unleash this thing called the Beast. Like, it's a alternate personality that's supposed to, you know, like, just change the world, change everything and stuff like that. So, I mean, the premise is interesting and everything like that, but it's mired down by clunky dialogue. Things like characters do things that no person on the planet would do.
But isn't that half the fun of a thriller is you go, you know, if I were in that situation, I would not be doing that. That's half the fun of watching like a horror film or whatever, is going like, they're doing something dumb. No, run this way, not that way, right? Like, that's half the fun, is seeing these characters that aren't as smart as you, the audience, right? So you get to be ahead of the game.
It goes beyond that for me. Like, for the first, I think, like, maybe 20 minutes of the movie, they aren't trying to escape. Like, I would be like, look, this guy, you know, James McAvoy, like, he's buff in this movie, but like 3 teenage girls, maybe like if they find something in the room to stab him or they claw his eye out or something like that, they might be able to overpower him. I would have liked to see a scene where they tried, but instead they just like stand there, like, you know, like, to me, it just seems like you would try to escape. You would try to look for a way out of the room.
Yeah, I mean, James McAvoy is not exactly The Rock.
Yeah,
right?
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly. So, you know, like, it's just the same kind of M. Night Shyamalan stuff where things don't make sense. Like, he's trying to introduce like pseudoscience that, you know, you don't need an explanation for this premise. You don't need science behind this premise. It's fantasy. Like, just go with it. And he tries to explain everything in a really convoluted and stupid way. But the thing that bothered me the most, because without this, it would just be a Shyamalan movie, you know, love it or hate it. I'm not that big of a fan. I loved Unbreakable. And a lot of people are saying that this is the best movie since Unbreakable. I disagree. But like, there's a scene. It's really, really weird. Like, remember when you like got to the point where you couldn't watch a Bryan Singer movie without like thinking about all the allegations that come with Bryan Singer?
Yes. Well, true.
Like apt people. Like,
yeah, right.
Yeah.
Right.
Like, I'm watching this movie and there's a scene where basically they flash back to the teenage girl, one of the teenage girls' backstory.
Are you giving sort of a ranty speech? Would you like this accompanied by some music? Go ahead. Give us.
All right.
Get on your stand here and give us step to the podium and give your speech.
Here I go with my speech. There's this scene where they show the backstory of one of the teenage girls, and it's essentially she knows all this stuff because she's going on hunting trips with her dad and her uncle. And it's like, all right, that's how, you know, we know she knows how to use a gun. That's how we know she knows how to, you know, like
Because a girl wouldn't know how to use a gun, so it has to be explained in a backstory.
So we need that backstory.
Okay,
yeah. So,
yeah.
Check. Yeah. Mike just cut out. I'll cut this out.
Okay.
So anyways, the backstory is, the hunting, and there's a scene where she's alone in the woods and her uncle calls out to her, like, hey, Cassie, her name is, hey, Cassie, come over here. So she walks over and the uncle is taking off his shirt and taking off his pants, and he's saying, like, let's play animals. Remember? Take off your clothes. You love that game. You love that game. Then he gets on all fours, starts making animal noises like like grunting. And the camera like pans over to her and she's just like staring blankly. And then it goes like from a like behind the shoulder shot of her, and she walks towards the guy and the camera cuts off, and I'm like, all right, like if you want to include in the movie that this character has been molested and like that's her backstory, you could do it in way other ways that don't come off weird and fetishizing child incest.
Can I just say I'm uncomfortable hearing you tell me about a scene from a movie I haven't seen.
Yeah, it's weird. Like there are so many different ways you can introduce the idea.
Not Human Centipede horrible.
Yeah.
But horrible.
No, Human Centipede, like everything in that movie is just like, first of all, it's done with actors that are over the age of 18. This character is supposed to be 5 years old. It's really unsettling. And I'm not a prude. I watch Game of Thrones. Like there's incest and, child pedophilia stuff in there, but it's done in a way where like the idea is implied. You don't see a lot of it. You don't see enough to make you uncomfortable. And I just felt uncomfortable. And if I wasn't reviewing the movie for you, I would have walked out at that point.
Oh, wow.
It was hard to watch. The rest of the movie, it is what it is. It's a Shyamalan movie.
Okay, well, you've sold me on never seeing Split again.
And I don't understand why people like it so much. Like, and they never talk about the child rape scene.
Really? Okay, well, wait, okay. Pause for a second.
Sure.
I just want to ask you, because I will never see the movie, what is the twist? This is a spoiler, so you should fast forward.
Yes.
Or you should fast forward or turn it down for the next 20 seconds. I want to know what the twist is right now.
We need a button that's like spoiler alert, beep, beep.
Don't worry, we're just getting started. Yeah. We just have a theme song this week. Give us a break. We'll be set up. Okay, so what's the spoiler? So this is the spoilers. We're spoiling the ending of Split.
Yeah.
If you do not want to know this, pause or turn the volume down for the next 20 to 30 seconds. Go.
All right. So the movie doesn't really have a twist. It has a post-credit scene. It's very Marvel-esque. But the movie like ends with James McAvoy assuming the.
Can I guess what it is?
What?
There are 24 clones of him.
No.
No?
No.
Oh, darn.
So he assumes the identity of the beast.
I think that's better. I think my pitch is better than what it turned out to be.
So he assumes the identity of the beast. And like the entire, like there's like drawings, like little crayon drawings, because one of his split personalities is 9 years old. And the beast is like this monstrous, like furry, like creature. And I'm like, all right, that's going to kind of be cool. Like he turns into basically a werewolf at the end. He doesn't. The only difference between the beast and the other personalities, like physically, is he grows taller and he has weird veins on his chest. And the movie ends and the, girl that got raped in the flashback scenes gets away because he's like, oh, you're damaged like me. We're the evolved. And then he walks away. And then she goes.
Okay.
Yeah.
End spoilers.
So the post-credit.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Okay. Well, is that it?
That's it for the movie.
So now you're free non-spoiler territory. Now we're done talking about Split.
No. The post-credit scene though.
Okay.
Here's the one that everybody's going insane, and I marked out about it too.
Okay.
So,
so now we're still in spoiler territory.
Yes, still in spoiler territory. So it shows like this diner, and there's like a news story going on the TV, and the lady's just like, we haven't caught him, but he's assumed the identity of Legion, or not Legion, but the Horde. That's what he's calling himself now. And the camera kind of zooms down to like two girls at the diner, and they're like, the Horde, like that's such a weird name. And the other girls like, remember that guy in the wheelchair? What did they call him? Then the camera pans over and it's Bruce Willis's character from Unbreakable. And he's like, they called him Mr. Glass. He takes a swig of his coffee and he's like, I gotta go. Credits. So it's basically.
No, that's actually cool.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Like I said, I marked out over that part because I love Unbreakable.
Unbreakable, so it's sort of a semi sequel to Unbreakable.
Yeah, it's like an origin story to,
but why didn't they just make a sequel to Unbreakable, which everyone agrees is one of M. Night's,
apparently that's what's coming next.
All right, well, that would be good. Okay. All right, so we're out of spoiler territory now.
Yep.
We are out of spoiler territory. We have now exited spoiler territory. But let's talk about a movie that I think we are split on, going from split to a movie we're split on, which is Live by Night.
Okay.
I happen to love Ben Affleck. I think as a director with Argo, I think he got screwed out of a directing Oscar for that film.
Can we have a moment of silence for like the Batman now that he's not directing it?
But it's a very technical move. Not only does he have to play this on screen in a costume you can barely hear in, he's got to tell people what to do. It totally makes sense. He'll be ghost directing that movie, and I hope that he's ghost directing the Justice League movie too, because. Let's not talk about a lot of tragic things happened in 2016, and one of them was Batman v Superman, which wasn't as bad as everybody said, but is fraught with problems. We will discuss that. We'll discuss that one day on a future podcast. But Live by Night is it's Ben Affleck's movie that's like I wonder what kind of movie it was trying to be. It's like a gangster movie, but he's running. It's set during Prohibition, so he's running rum, and it's set in New Orleans. And there's a car chase with these old 1920s cars that can go barely 30 miles an hour. I mean, it's like it's one of these things. Part of the problem with the movie that I had, the plot's pretty simple. It's a gangster film, and he's running rum and moves to New Orleans, and there are rival gangs and whatnot. I feel like the movie didn't know what it really wanted to be and what it wanted to focus on, because there's also a romance that's like on screen, then 20 minutes later it's back.
Yeah,
with Zoe Saldana. Like, what the heck? I don't know. It's like, I felt like it didn't know what it wanted to be. And then secondly, it felt like it was edited by the same editing team that brought us Suicide Squad, because it was so choppy. I felt like it was a really good 3-hour movie that was cut to a 2.5-hour movie. I mean, it was interminable. It felt long. There were chunks that needed to come out of it, or they need to bring back intermissions at movies, it just felt choppy. I felt like the movie lost subplots, and because it just felt so disjointed. Am I wrong? So Live by Night for me, look, if I got to go by my own DVD Tuesday scale, it's a pass for me. Mm-hmm. But this is actually a fun thing that we're doing now on the Film Threat website. All reviewers are actually using their own review method, meaning there are many ways to review a film. Roger Ebert and the RogerEbert.com, Roger Ebert, may he rest in peace, love that man, had the thumbs up, thumbs down scale, which is actually trademarked. Thumbs up, thumbs down. There's also 4 stars. Sometimes some rating scales are 5 stars. Some people go 1 through 10. Some people use percentages, 1% to 100%. Some use an A, B, C, grammar school rating scale. All reviewers on Film Threat will actually choose the rating scale that they would like to go with. I'm going to go with a buy, rent, pass. I'm just going to stick with that. But you're using a 1 through 10 numbered scale, and you gave Live by Night.
I gave it a 7 out of 10.
7 out of 10. Yeah. Okay, so now argue with me for a second. I did not love it. And this and another quick thing that I would like to, you know what? This is speech worthy right here. This is something that I think that we need to discuss.
Sure.
Because this is about discussing movies. I think too many people get offended when it comes to seeing a review of a film that they loved and they see someone dislike it. I don't care. I feel like I don't need hand job journalism, which is most entertainment journalism is giving a hand job to a movie or seeking validation. Yeah. So a lot of people do, they'll see a movie, feel however they feel about it, and your feeling is justified. Whether you loved it or hated it, your feeling about a film is justified. I think that anyone who writes about movies or discusses film on a podcast or YouTube or whatever, their job is to make you see something that you might not have noticed and to give the viewer insight. I want to learn something. So I actually like seeking out opinions that don't jibe with mine because I want to learn. I want to learn something when I read a review or watch someone talk about films on YouTube or a podcast. I want to feel as if I've actually learned from that experience rather than I'm not looking to get my opinion validated. I appreciate that you loved Rogue One. That's great. But there's no need to attack someone who said that they didn't.
Yeah.
I might be one of those people. I did not love Rogue One.
And I absolutely loved it.
Yes. Well, then that would be a discussion maybe let's talk about Star Wars on another podcast.
Yeah,
Otherwise, we're talking for the next 3 hours. But So all I'm saying is I don't seek validation when it comes to film. I don't get mad at someone because their opinion differs from mine. I want insight. I want to learn something. So okay, so moving on. So Live by Night, we disagree. You liked it. You gave it a 7, which isn't great.
Yeah.
You liked it. I would have given it a 3 or a 4, but on your scale. But what did you love about it?
Well,
I thought it was long.
Let's just say, all right, one of the movies, I don't know if we're going to talk about it on this episode or the next episode, but one of the movies I reviewed was Resident Evil.
That's the next
The final
episode.
chapter? Okay, that's the next episode. I gave that either a 4 out of 10 or a 5 out of 10.
You should read your own reviews.
Yeah.
Look at you not remembering. Okay, but convince me on Live by Night. Why should I love it?
I don't think Live by Night is as bad as Resident Evil.
Can I tell you the context under which I saw it? I was invited to a special screening at the DGA. Ben Affleck was there. We had drinks before. So it was a bunch of people from the BFCA, which is the Broadcast Film Critics Association, of which I'm a member. So I'm fortunate, and I feel very lucky to be part of that organization. Thank you, Joey Berlin, and everyone who works on the BFCA. But I get invited sometimes to early screenings, which is fine. So I saw it in the context of free drinks and appetizers before. So I plied myself with beer. The DGA, which is a beautiful venue on Sunset Boulevard to see a screening. Ben Affleck did a Q&A with the cast after the film, and I did not like the movie. So just to let you know, I cannot be swayed. But you saw it on a DVD screener that I did lend you.
Yes.
I did lend you one of my screeners. But you did not you loved it. I disliked it.
I didn't love it.
I saw it under the best of circumstances.
Yeah.
You saw it under not the ideal circumstances on your, how big is your TV?
It's a 32-inch.
It's a 32. Yeah. You saw it on a 32-inch television where look, let's go to Costco.
With microwavable popcorn.
We'll go to Costco on my Costco card. Let's get you a better TV. But tell me why I should like the film more than I did. You know?
Well,
you gave it double the score that I would have.
Okay.
And look, Ben Affleck's previous work, and I liked him in Gone Girl. I thought he was fantastic.
He was incredible.
Yeah.
I'm an unapologetic fan of Ben Affleck. I love Ben Affleck from the beginning when he was first on Mallrats and stuff. I loved Ben Affleck when he was going through dark times where everybody else was bashing on him. I just have a thing for Ben Affleck. It's a man crush. It's heterosexual, I promise.
Can I?
Yeah.
Who cares? Here, let me just say this. I am also a fan.
Yeah.
I think he's one of the nicest guys on the planet. He's also playing one of my favorite characters, Batman.
Yeah,
I think that everyone agrees across the board. Batman was great in Batman v Superman. Another conversation. But and I have loved his. That didn't affect my opinion about the film.
Okay.
That didn't affect. You were affected by the fact that you like Ben Affleck.
No.
I am asking you to see. I think there is a better movie for him to make. I feel and this is fine. This was I wouldn't consider this a disaster. It's a misstep. It's probably a misstep. Look, the guy was batting 1,000 on so many movies he was both in and movies he made. And so this is one that's not as good. I feel the bar has been raised. Everything good that he's done, the bar has been raised. So this just did not meet the bar that Ben Affleck had raised for me, which actually you could get a whole homoerotic discussion about that. Did he raise your, anyways, but you like it because you're just an unapologetic fan.
Yeah, I'm a
fan. I don't
fan.
know that that's
so
good
I was
reason you haven't convinced me.
No. I'm getting
if you're
to
going
it.
to disagree with me in a way that you're going to try to convince me. Come on, bring it on.
Okay,
bring it on.
All right. I love him in movies. I do. I was excited to see this. I watched it. By the end of it, I gave it a 7 out of 10 because it wasn't magnificent, it wasn't amazing, it wasn't great, but it entertained me. I didn't feel bored in it. I know you did, but I didn't feel bored in it. Like, and the thing that makes it special to me is like, I'm not a big fan of gangster movies or, movies and, crime thrillers or whatever they call it. Like, I'm not the biggest fan of those. To me, I think they start and stop with Godfather and Godfather 2. Like, those are the two movies that I love. I actually, obsess over. Everything else is just pale in comparison, in my opinion.
Okay.
So I'm watching this movie and I'm like, it's okay. Like, it's not that bad. It's got Ben Affleck. I like Ben Affleck. Like, it's got a story that I can get behind. It starts out as basically he gets double crossed, and he turns to a life of crime in order to get back at the guy that double crossed him. And I'm like, okay, cool. The movie goes off the rails though, because they essentially ignore that plot.
Now, did it feel to you like it was a longer movie that got cut down and is choppy?
No, I didn't
Really?
feel that.
Oh my God.
I just felt it was choppy.
Yeah.
Like, not that there was a longer cut that was better. Like, I think it was.
I feel like that there were subplots that were missing.
See, I think if they would have made that movie better, I would have liked it less.
Can I just say I'm
Sure.
not convinced?
Okay,
I'm not
that's
convinced.
fine.
But we got to move on we got a couple more films to talk about. Let's talk about The Lobster.
Okay.
Okay, so we both dislike that, right?
Yeah.
I mean, this came out like last summer. It's sort of been in platform release, but so The Lobster, which has one of the coolest trailers ever.
I don't think I saw the trailer.
You never saw the trailer?
No, tell us about it.
So the trailers, the premise is that everyone needs to be coupled up. And if you leave a relationship, you've got a limited amount of time to find another partner in life, or you get turned into an animal of your choosing.
Yeah, which I love that premise.
So it's basically where all the single people go to like this little vacation resort to try to couple up, or
one last chance,
or they get transformed into another creature.
Yeah.
And what's interesting is God, who's the lead? I'm spacing on his name.
Colin Farrell.
So Colin Farrell chooses a lobster. He wants to be a lobster. Some people choose like different types of animals. He chooses lobsters, which apparently I didn't know live a really long time.
Yeah, like 100 years.
100 years a lobster can live. So
I didn't verify that. I've just taken.
It's from the movie. It's from the movie. Yeah. Maybe not scientific. It could be an alternate fact. We don't know. But it felt like it just didn't the trailer online, which you definitely look up the trailer. Once you've seen the trailer, you've seen the best parts of Lobster, because it makes it look like it's a really bizarre, dark comedy, almost as directed by David Lynch. The final result is a plodding foreign film that just that doesn't pay off on the concept. It doesn't like the concept really sort of, lets the imagination reel. Like, oh my gosh, you could have a pet dog, which actually could be your brother.
Yeah.
Or, you know what I mean? Like you could have like what are animals in the world? How does this world function? How does this world function where everyone must be coupled up? Is this a comment on society's current dating culture, which everyone says is broken? Dating is broken, right? Like it's difficult to be single in today's world. So is this a comment on it? It comments on none of that. It's just weird for weird's sake. Yeah. And did not love it. Pass on Lobster. Did you have anything more to add to that one?
No, I think we're in agreement.
We're in total agreement,
yeah.
Which is though irrelevant, as I pointed out earlier
I love the premise, and I wish they would have done more about it. Like they could have made it like a horror movie or something. Like
exactly the premise, great premise for a movie,
yeah.
and another article that we'll write.
Yeah.
It'll be great premise for a movie that turned into a crappy movie.
All the characters were just so monotone and just talking in like weird
and
accents.
A good cast too.
Yeah. Oh, it was a fantastic cast.
Yeah.
It broke my heart that movie sucked.
Let's move on to another movie that starts with the letter L. And that is the movie that will win Best Picture this year in our upcoming Oscars, which is La La Land.
Oh my God, I love this
Okay,
movie.
so La La Land, you and I both loved it. There's really, yes, get over it. It is a musical. And let me just say this. I love musicals. I'm sorry.
Okay.
I am comfortable in my heterosexual maleness to say that not only do I love musicals, I actually will go see plays at the Pantages Theater. in Hollywood. So I recently saw Rent, and so look, I La La Land. What I do love about it is a very non-traditional musical, and the opening. It's a typical romance. And it's a movie we've seen before. We've never seen it done this way.
Yeah.
Where they're just singing naturally. They're it's set in these real environments. They shoot all over Los Angeles. Just as a longtime Los Angeles resident, it's great to see these places. I didn't even know where they shot on the freeway. I believe that was the 105.
Yeah.
No, it was the 105 or the 118. It was the 118.
I thought it was the 105.
No, I thought it was the 118. Anyways, someone can look it up that knows facts. We will not try to argue that what we're saying is correct unless we look it up. But I believe it was the 118 freeway, which connects the 210 to the 405. And now we sound like the Californians from SNL. But that opening scene where they're all in their cars, which typical, if you live in LA, you will suffer in traffic, which I think that the reasons that podcasts are so successful is because of bad traffic in LA.
Commutes. Yeah.
Commutes. I listen to podcasts. I listen to books in my car. I don't dread a long drive as much as I used to, but I know on a bad day, it can take me 2 hours to get from the east side to the west side or vice versa. It's just terrible. But that opening scene was so LA, everyone's stuck in traffic, everyone in their own little world. And then the traffic is so bad they get out of their cars and sing and dance. It's so great. And Ryan Gosling, that guy could do no wrong. I mean, look, he's in the upcoming new Blade Runner. I'm a fan of Ryan Gosling in real life. That movie is probably one of the nicest guys on the planet too. No surprise, Canadian, and great cast. Great. I don't know what else to say. It's like just everything and the music is actually listenable.
It's wonderful. It's wonderful.
It's listenable.
Yeah. Well, I think it's wonderful. I'm not on I don't like musicals.
See, even better.
Yeah.
I like musicals.
Yeah.
You don't like musicals, and you liked it.
Not a fan. I saw the Book of Mormon when it was in Orange County, and I loved
it.
that.
I have tickets to see it later this year. I will be seeing Book of Mormon.
I loved that. I thought it was fantastic, but just musicals as a genre aren't my thing. I don't gravitate towards them. But I'm the kind of person that I'll tell you I don't like musicals, but if you tell me well, check it out anyways, it's really, really good, I'll check it out. I'll give it a chance. I'm not no musicals ever, screw musicals. It's just not my thing. But if somebody says check it out, I'll check it out. I checked out La La Land. I loved it. I loved it from the first frame where it was just traffic as far as the eye can see, and they just break out into song about traffic.
Also, wait, now isn't it nice? Look, a lot of the films that we've seen in the last quarter of 2016 have been dark.
Yeah.
I mean, look, whatever.
We are living in dark times.
We can get into a debate about Rogue One. Rogue One is dark.
Yes.
Rogue One is very dark. But the thing is, the 70s, a lot of people forget, was a really dark time. A movie that kind of brought some delight, brought some happiness, that was just fun, was Star Wars. And I kind of feel like we're kind of missing that. Maybe we do need sort of a ray of sunshine when we walk in that movie theater. I don't want to be reminded of everything awful in the world. I actually do want an escape.
Yeah.
And I think that that's what La La Land does well. I mean, you can criticize it for that, but I feel like, in dark times, let's see something that will lift our spirits.
Well, I don't think that La La Land was a completely,
well, it does deal with the thematic issues of the gentrification of, music and culture, especially in Los Angeles. There's some digs at LA, which I love. Because as much as I've lived in LA for, God, since the early 90s, I have a love-hate relationship with LA.
LA was totally a character in this movie.
Yes, it was.
You had these scenes where it's gorgeous and beautiful, but you can see the cracks in the streets. You can see the potholes in the concrete. You can see stores that, just have completely gone to ruin. And that's LA. Yes. It's the movie business is there, it's the city of dreams and everything like that. But there's also this dark, seedy, side to everything. And it's a dirty city. And this just beautifully captured both.
Would you say it's a nasty city?
Yeah, it's nasty.
Well, okay, so we both love La La Land, and we're straight for the most part, except when it comes to Ben Affleck. All right, let's talk about upcoming films that we're excited about. Upcoming movies. that we're excited about for 2017. At some point, we're going to discuss all of these. I'll go first, and Guardians of the Galaxy 2.
Okay.
I cannot wait for that. I cannot wait to see. Wonder Woman, I can't wait to see. And a film I have seen the first 42 minutes of, which I believe will be the first movie that's going to come out in 2017 that will be a must-see, is Logan.
Mm-hmm.
Logan is the story of Wolverine, beaten, battered. He's not healing as quickly as he used to. I've seen the first 42 minutes. I don't want to say anything except I think it's going to spin off. It's going to spin off a whole new series. It's to me, I hate to say this, I like the X-Men movies that are not directed by Bryan Singer.
Yes.
Because fewer digital effects in this, because the last two Bryan Singer directed X-Men movies were so overdone. It's what we were talking about earlier with the digital effects. It takes you out of the movie. It's not realistic. Logan, I can tell you from the footage that I have seen, the first 42 minutes, which there were unfinished effects, it feels like an indie movie. Mm-hmm. In fact, the director got up, spacing out his name, but James Mangold got up before the movie and he said, look, he says, I think that superhero movies are done.
Yeah.
Every kind of superhero movie we've seen every type of superhero movie made now at this point. He said, I wanted to make a superhero movie that was least like a superhero film or a comic book movie than you've ever seen. My intention was to make Little Miss Sunshine with mutants.
Yeah.
It is a road movie. It feels very indie. Characters do, and it's paying off. Like Professor X is in it. That's not a spoiler. I mean, he's in the trailer, but it's like there's so much good stuff about this, especially as a longtime X-Men fan. Like just reading the comics. I mean, it was one of my gateway comics. I feel so dumb because I owned the first 100 issues of X-Men when I was a kid. I was a kid in the 70s and 80s, and I bought.
And you let them go,
and I sold them all. And I remember selling issue 1 of X-Men. Issue 1 I had. It was in very good to fine. I sold it for $12.
Oh, no.
I'm an idiot. Okay, so anyways, back to Logan is one of the movies I'm looking forward to, but also I want to hear, and I've got a couple more that I want to talk about that are indie films.
Yeah, for sure.
But
can I say something?
But
about
yeah,
Logan,
what are your upcoming? Yeah, okay, but I want to hear your upcoming favorites as well.
For sure. The thing about Logan is like I like the direction they're going with it for like an actual, Wolverine solo film. I love that, but we have not seen a good X-Men movie where they act like the X-Men. The X-Men are a team of mutants, not to get all nerdy on everybody, but they're a team of mutants that can take down the Avengers. They have taken down the Avengers solely because they are led by Cyclops, who is a mastermind tactical genius.
But we've never seen Cyclops. We've never seen full Cyclops, and I have cosplayed as Cyclops. I don't know if you've seen, there are photos of, I have cosplayed as Cyclops.
And like, we've never seen them work as a team. Every single action scene in the X-Men movies is just like, here's Beast, he's doing something alone. Like, I want to see, like Wolverine back to back with Beast. They're both taking, like, the Avengers did it perfectly in that one scene where like the camera just kind of zooms around them and like, Iron Man is blasting off of Captain America's shield, and then Hawkeye comes in. Like, they're working as a team.
Right.
I want to see that in an X-Men movie. So when you say like all superhero movies have been done before, like I want to see them do that with the X-Men movie.
Well, I still want to see a good Fantastic Four movie, but that may never happen in my lifetime.
Yeah,
that may never happen. All right. So what films are you looking forward to? And I got a couple more on my list, and these to give you guys some heads up on movies you definitely haven't heard of.
Sure.
But what are your upcoming? We were talking about Wonder Woman earlier.
Wonder Woman is a big one. I want there to be a DC movie that isn't divisive.
Do you want to see a good DC movie?
Yes. I want to see a good DC movie where I'm like, that was an entertaining movie. I loved that movie. Not one where it's just like, it wasn't as bad as everybody thinks, or not one that's just like, well, it was garbage. Like, right. I want a good one. And like, we need more female superhero leads. We do. Black Widow needs a movie.
Right.
Like, it just...
Yeah, what's interesting is now you're going to see Marvel's going to do a female lead in a movie, just copying DC. Kidding, of course, because it's that.
I'm so sick of the fanboy war.
The fanboy constant debate about DC versus Marvel. Who cares? Like, I don't care. I just want to see one good DC movie, because a lot of people forget there are so many bad Marvel movies previous to the first Iron Man.
Yeah.
Right? The first Iron Man set the universe right. And it was all the experience that they had, bad license deals, this. I mean, yes, the Spider-Man films were good, but they were part of its own. The first MCU movie, which kicked it off, Iron Man, people forget it, right? So there's so many bad Marvel movies. I feel like give DC a chance. Wonder Woman could set it right, and Justice League, who knows? I still really don't have a lot of faith in Zack Snyder. I'm disappointed in what he's been able to deliver. I mean, they just haven't gotten the characters right. So you're looking forward to Wonder Woman, and what else? What else in 2017?
I am. I'm looking forward to a movie I may or may not have seen a screening of last night, involving Scarlett Johansson and cyborgs.
Did you sign an NDA to not talk about that movie?
Yes.
Does the movie rhyme with schmoshed in the schmell?
Maybe.
All right. So you can't talk about it like...
I can't talk about it, but I'm interested. Like, so they showed a rough cut.
Schmell.
Yeah, they showed a rough cut, and I'm interested in seeing the final cut, because
and there were unfinished effects and all that stuff.
Yeah.
But
I'm interested in seeing it.
But from what you've seen,
I'm very interested in seeing it.
Dang it!
Some would say I'm very excited. I'm excited about seeing the final product.
Oh my God. I wanted to go to that screening, but I know that somebody
would pick you out in the crowd.
Someone would pick me out and kick me out.
Yeah.
So I didn't go.
Yeah.
But you went, you won't tell me about it on this podcast.
Not on the podcast. I'll tell you about it all you want, like off the podcast.
All right. But you're looking forward to it. Basically, you've seen something cool. You're looking forward to it.
Yes.
All right. Let me clue you in on a couple things that I think you should be looking for in 2017. These are some, and let's get back to talking about indies.
Yeah.
This is supposed to be Film Threat, right?
Yep.
We're not, look, I love your mainstream blockbusters as much as anybody. I also happen to have a diet that I love indie movies. I love musicals, and I also love underground films and documentaries. My palette is broad.
I'm the same way.
When it comes to films. And yes, we'll talk about the big blockbusters on here, but we're also going to be more indie focused going forward. But there's two indie movies that I want to let you know about to look for. One is called Director's Cut. This movie, directed by Adam Rifkin, starring Penn Jillette. Right now, while you're sitting here, listen to this, write a note to yourself, look up the Director's Cut trailer, which is on YouTube. This movie hit the festival circuit last year, is not in commercial release yet. I happen to know Adam, and I keep asking him, when is Director's Cut coming out? Director's Cut is a movie made for movie fans. It's for geeks who are into DVDs and extras, and it's about this guy who's a crazy person, played by Penn Jillette. And it starts out as like you're watching a movie that's kind of a crappy cop suspense thriller that we've seen a million times. But then what happens is, and this is all in the trailer, Penn Jillette's character kidnaps the lead actress of the movie, and he plans to remake the movie with himself in the lead role using crappy special effects, like bad green screen.
I'm sold.
I'm telling you, when you see the trailer for this movie, it's one of the most original. It's dark. It's funny. It's about extreme fans. It is one of my favorite movies that I saw last year, Director's Cut. It is not commercially available. When it comes out, I am buying it on DVD and or buying it on digital, whatever. One of my favorite movies from last year, incredibly original, Director's Cut. Look for that. Second movie that I want to make you aware of hasn't even hit the festival circuit yet. I saw a rough cut of it. And you know what? I've gotten to know the filmmaker. I just have to tell you about it. It's a movie called Haunters, directed by a guy named John Schnitzer.
Okay.
Haunters it's a documentary about the world of extreme haunted houses. The people who work at these extreme haunted houses, the experiences that they pay for. I don't know if you've heard of some of these things like the Darren Bozeman, like
they Tension, get super brutal, right?
Tension. Oh yeah, these are ones where you pay money, they take you and basically brutalize you, right? So he spent, God, it had to be at least a year working on this documentary following one of the haunted houses and all the things that go wrong. They almost get shut down by the local authorities, like there are complaints against them. Like, I didn't realize how big this world is, because Halloween to me, October 1st, my Halloween decorations go up, right? Like October 1st, boom, there I get my Nightmare Before Christmas action figures. They go up, they stay all the way through January 1. Like that, like I am a huge Halloween fan. So I didn't realize that there is a whole culture of people that just live this really around. And it's not just people, it's not just about this one haunted house. It's like people who work in the they call it the attractions industry, right?
Yeah.
So there's a convention called Scare LA that you can go to where you can sign up and get jobs working at haunted houses. I mean, Universal Studios with their, they do the Universal Horror Nights, right? And they also do the Knott's Scary Farm. They hire workers seasonally just to work those jobs from like, late September all the way through like mid-November. They're doing haunts.
Yeah.
And it's gets bigger and bigger every year. So seek out this documentary. It is not even debuted at a film festival. So this is a movie that you might not even actually be able to see until 2018, but
you've seen it, right?
I've seen it. Yes,
Okay,
I've seen a rough cut. I think he's going to tweak a few things. I had like one note for him. I had one note just to pass along, like, hey, if you just fix this one thing, and he's actually going to fix it, which is good. But it's going to hit the festival circuit, and it's going to come out commercially, and it's one of the best docs I've seen recently. So seek out Haunters Director's Cut, and I think we're almost running out of time here, right?
Yeah, we're at 55 minutes.
Okay, yeah. So, okay,
that's not bad.
Dude, this is not bad. It's our first podcast. I want to thank you.
Fun.
I want to thank you, Anthony Ray Bench, lead film critic for filmthreat.com. Where can people find you on Twitter so they can follow you and yell at you?
People can find me at This Game Cheats.
At This Game Cheats.
Yep.
Okay. I will. You know what? I'm going to follow you. And of course, my name is Chris Gore. You can find me at that Chris Gore. You can follow Film Threat at Film Threat on Twitter. Film Threat is also on Facebook and Film Threat on Instagram. If you just look up Film Threat, Film Threat's on Tumblr. Just find us. Find us in whatever platform, and
we're going to be everywhere.
We're going to be everywhere. Yeah, and thank you again to all the Kickstarter backers.
Thank you so much.
We would not be doing this without your donation. We're back, and please be kind to us as we rebuild the website. It's going to get better and better. The first month we're kind of getting our sea legs, but we hope you find some good stuff to read on there. This is our first episode, so give us a shot, and we're gonna end the podcast by saying. I'm stealing from myself because this is actually from Podcrash, but it's the most used line of dialogue in cinema history. Everyone says it's just the most written line of dialogue, and so we're going to end the podcast by saying.
I think this is appropriate because we were both part of Podcrash.
Exactly. We're just carrying on that legacy, and at some point I'm going to shoot that podcast in the head after I release the final episodes. But Anthony, I think it's time to
let's get out of here.